How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the show. My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the #1 Raiders show in the world. This is the Raiders Daily. All right, let's talk about it, I guess. The Raiders are coming off probably the most embarrassing loss, I would say, in a long time. They get completely mauled by the 3-7, now I guess 4-7, Atlanta Falcons. This game was a complete debacle. The offense did not score a single touchdown. Not a single touchdown. Through 4 quarters, they could not score a touchdown. Derek Carr threw a pick 6. He fumbled 3 times, which, by the way, he averages around 1 fumble per game. Now it's probably higher than that. I don't know what the deal is with that whole situation. Every year there's something with him. You know what I mean? Last year we all wanted him to use his legs more. He does that. He ends up doing that this season. Starts using his legs. But then he has a fumbling issue. He can't feel the pressure. So there's always something. Always something. But we also got to remember, this is nothing new. Every year Derek Carr plays great. The first half of the season. It's always after Thanksgiving, usually into November, December, is when this team falls apart. Remember, going into this game, the Raiders were 6, they had the same record as last season. So, what changed? Now, this team seems like they are so much more talented than last season's team, especially on offense. When you have that much speed, like I said before, this offense I would put up against any offense in the NFL, including the Chiefs. And the Raiders have defeated the Kansas City Chiefs once. They could have done it twice if Jonathan Abram did his job. But Jonathan Abram, of course, is basically a rookie. He was too eager and did not settle in, and he let Travis Kelce get a game-winning touchdown when he could have had a pick. He could have picked it off if he stayed in his spot. But anyways, that was a long time ago. We shouldn't even be talking about the Chiefs anymore. The Chiefs are the AFC West champions. There's nothing that's going to change that. The Raiders are now fighting for their lives to make it into the playoffs. But a performance like that against the Falcons, playoffs? Are you kidding me? We're talking about playoffs. This team just lost to the Atlanta Falcons and didn't just lose. They got destroyed. Atlanta put 40 on them. The Raiders put up 6 points, 2 field goals. Now, we got to get past that game. If the Raiders want to be taken seriously at all and want any chance to make the playoffs, remember, Derek Carr has never played in a playoff game. If this team wants to be taken seriously, they need to go into New York and defeat an 0-11 New York Jets, a team that has not won a single football game this season. Remember, last year, it was the same scenario. The Raiders were in this position. They went into New York and they got embarrassed. Now, the hope is that embarrassment already happened. That was against Atlanta. Now the Raiders can recover. They go into New York and just destroy a team which they really should destroy. Their offense, there's no reason why this offense did not score a touchdown against Atlanta. They better score at least 40 against an 0-11 Jets team. This Jets team, I don't care what John Gruden tells you or the coaches tell you or whatever. They're terrible. They're 0-11 for a reason. Their total offense is the worst in the NFL. Okay? Their pass offense is worse in the NFL. Their defense, come on. Their total defense is 28th in the NFL. They're terrible. They're ranked 29th on points per game on defense. They give up a lot of points. They're 26th on third down defense. The Raiders are ranked 3rd, surprisingly. Now, these stats, of course, that I'm reading you, even if they're for the Raiders here, you got to remember, they're going to not be the same since last week. They just got completely embarrassed and destroyed, and, I mean, they just looked awful. But this team has to rebound. They have to rebound. They have to go into New York. They have to dominate this Jets team, which, I mean, they're so bad they're 0-11. They are the worst team in the National Football League. Everyone is beating them. Everyone. Why can't the Raiders? And if the Raiders don't defeat the Jets, then this season is over. Because I'm telling you right now, the Raiders, they pretty much have to run the table if they want to make the playoffs. And they're going to need help on top of that. There are teams that are in front of them. The Browns are 8-3. And I don't care if the Raiders beat the Browns. Because the fact of the matter is, the Raiders are 6-5. So it doesn't really matter anymore. Now, if the Browns had the same record as the Raiders, then it would matter. Luckily, the Ravens lost. So now the Ravens are 6-5, just like the Raiders. But I mean, you got to be careful of teams even like the Patriots. They're 5-6. And guess what? The Patriots beat the Raiders. So if the Raiders lose one more game and they have the same record, chances are the Patriots are going to get in over the Raiders. Then you got the Miami Dolphins that are 7-4. There are so many teams, the Raiders, they need help. They need the Browns to lose. They need the Ravens still to lose a few games. They need the Colts to lose. I mean, you even need the Texans to drop one, just to be safe. I mean, really, for real. Just to be safe. And the Broncos, which they should. But the Raiders should be able to really, they should be able to do this. This is a team, like I said, time and time again, that is so much better than last season. Their defense is awful. Yes, their defense is very, very bad. But let me tell you something. Their defense has been playing a lot better. And it may not look like it from the score against Atlanta, but that defense was on the field pretty much the entire game. Atlanta controlled the time of possession. I mean, they did whatever they wanted to do because the Raiders' offense, they were fumbling everywhere. It was a mess. Josh Jacobs fumbling, Derek Carr fumbling. I mean, when you throw a pick six and fumble 3 times, and then your running back fumbles, the whole thing was a disaster. Your defense cannot, defense cannot be on the field for that long. They just can't. So the rest of the way here, the Raiders have the Jets, which I said is a must-win. They better beat a winless Jets team. From there is a big game, as you know. It's the Indianapolis Colts going into Las Vegas, where the Raiders don't play well, but they have to now. And they're playing the Raiders, and that, my friends, is a playoff game. In fact, the rest of the games on the schedule for the Las Vegas Raiders are all playoff games. The Jets game, don't take it lightly. I'm telling you right now, I took Atlanta lightly. I really did. I knew Atlanta's offense would give the Raiders problems. That's the only thing I thought. But their defense is not very good. There's a reason why they were a 3-win team. Their secondary is not very good. But for some reason, this Raiders offense could not get going. And listen, I'm not the coach. I'm not out here telling you that I'm a better coach than John Gruden. But I can watch television just like anyone else can and tell you, first of all, Devontae Booker needs to be involved more. Henry Ruggs needs to be involved more. You got to get more creative on offense. You have to. And Derek Carr has to feel that pressure coming. Because guess what? You don't got Trent Brown right now. You're not going to have him for the Jets game. You may have him for the Colts game. Right now looks like he'll be back for the Colts game. But we never know with Trent Brown. So the Raiders should have LaMarcus Joyner back. Clint Farrell should be back for the Jets game. He should. We'll see. We got to wait till Friday. But it looks like that's going to happen. And even though LaMarcus Joyner is out of position, they're still a better team when he's on the field. Because otherwise, you got Nevin Lawson. And we got to hope Damon Arnett can recover. He's in concussion protocol. Hopefully, he can recover and he can play against the Jets. Now, the Raiders should be able to beat the Jets without any of those guys. They really should. But I don't want to take any chances. So I hope everyone's healthy. Really. I mean, they should have beat the Falcons too, but they lost 43-6. They lost by 40 points. So anyways, you got the Jets. Then you got the Colts. Then you got the Chargers, which is always a tough game for the Raiders. And listen, the Chargers are another team that the Raiders, you got to make sure you beat the Chargers. You just got to make sure you clean up in your division. The Chargers are not a great team. They got a ton of injuries. They find ways to lose. So you got to make sure you take care of that game, and then that sets you up against the Miami Dolphins, which is a huge game that got moved to prime time. It's such a huge game. And then you finish the season off, which scares me, against Denver, where it's going to be cold. Derek Carr has won like one game in the cold weather since 2015 or whenever he started. And or 2 games, I'm sorry. The first game was against Denver, but it was pretty much Khalil Mack did all the work. So, we shall see. Can Derek Carr get back to what he was doing early on in the season? Derek Carr was playing at a high level. But the thing is, and I've been saying this all year long now, all season long, the Raiders got to be consistent. They got to start stacking up wins. They don't do that. They did that once this season. They won 3 games. And that was right after they got stomped on by Tampa Bay. They beat the Cleveland Browns, a team that is not as talented as the Raiders. They beat the Chargers 31-26. Then they beat the Broncos. So they beat 3 teams that, I guess the Browns have a better record than the Raiders, so I can't say the Browns are bad. I just think the Browns have a very easy schedule. But anyways, they win those 3 games, and then guess what? Then they drop 2. They lose against the Chiefs, and then they just get walloped by the Falcons. And now they're playing an 0-11 New York Jets team. Now you got to stop the losing streak now, right? You can't lose against the Jets. You can't do it. You just can't do it. So if the Raiders can take care of the Jets, they can take care of the Colts, they can take care of the Chargers. Wow, can they win 4 in a row and take care of the Miami Dolphins? That will be the question. That will be the biggest question right there. Can they do it? And remember, the Raiders need help. They need help. They're going to need teams to lose. They're going to need Miami to drop some games. Remember, the Miami Dolphins, they're playing the Bengals next. It looks like Miami will probably win that game. But then they play the Chiefs. You want the Chiefs to win that game. Then they're playing the Patriots, which is going to be a weird game because depending on what happens with the Patriots, if they won last week, if they win again, you might want the Dolphins to win that game and then have the Raiders beat the Dolphins. It's so, like I said, the Raiders are going to need help. They are going to need help from some of these teams to beat the teams that they're in a mix with. The Ravens losing against the Steelers, that was a good thing. If they could drop a couple more, that would be great. The Browns, like I said, this is the tricky part, is the Browns. A team where, I don't really feel like the Browns are, that great. I really don't. They start off the season, they get destroyed by the Ravens. They beat the Bengals by 5 points. They beat Washington. They beat the Cowboys. Their big win, I guess, their big signature win here would be against the Colts. But then they got killed against the Steelers. Then they got to play the Bengals again, and they won by, 3 points. And then they played the Raiders, and the Raiders beat them 16-6. Then they played the Texans, and they won. This is for real. They won 10-7. Then they got to play the Eagles, who are a mess, and they won 22-17. Then they played the Jags last week, and they won by 2 points. So they had the easy schedule this season. And that's why they're sitting where they're at. Every time they play a team that's a little bit talented, besides the Colts game, they lose. So upcoming for the Browns, they got the Titans, and I say just root for the Titans to win that division. You got the Titans. Hopefully the Browns can lose against them. Then you got the Ravens. It doesn't really matter who wins or loses that game. But then the next one after that is against the New York Giants. And you're going to want the New York Giants to beat the Cleveland Browns in that game. Now, this is, of course, this means nothing if the Raiders lose against the Jets. But when the Browns play against the Giants, and let's see, that's 3 weeks from this Sunday. So, when the Browns play against the Giants, you need the Giants to win that game. Because then the Browns are playing against the Jets, the same team the Raiders are playing this Sunday. Okay? And Browns are probably going to beat the Jets. I mean, come on. And then they end the season, because I know people are probably going to be thinking this, they end the season against the Steelers. So some people are, in their minds, will say, well, that's a win for the Steelers. But remember, if the Steelers lose a game from now to the end of the season, and they have, they're already locked in whatever spot they're in, let's say they're a first seed or their second seed, and that's not going to change, then they might rest their players and let the Browns get in. Because I got news for you. These teams, like the Steelers, they're more scared of the Raiders in the playoffs than they are of the Cleveland Browns. So that's why I'm warning all of you, don't take that game lightly. The Steelers could end up resting all their players if they lose a game. We don't know. Remember, the Steelers, up next they got Washington, but then they play the Bills. The Bills have a chance to upset them. Then they play the Bengals. Then they play the Colts. Never know what's going to happen there. Then you got the Browns, of course, at the end of the season. So what happens if, they end up with one loss or two losses, or Chiefs end up, you know what I mean? If the Steelers have the number 1 seed locked or the number 2 seed locked, and it's not going to change anything on that last game against the Browns, that's what you don't want as a Raiders fan. Especially if you want the Raiders to make the playoffs. And I think the Raiders can make the playoffs. I mean, like I said, the remainder of their schedule is not that difficult. Yes, they got Miami. Yes, they got the Colts up first. But come on, man. The Jets, an 0-11 team. The Chargers and the Broncos. The Broncos, come on. Come on now. You got a 3-8 Chargers team. You got a 4-7 Broncos team. The Raiders should be able to take care of business against them. And up next, you got an 0-11 Jets team. So you got 2 tough games, really, ahead of you. That's the Colts, who are 7-4, a must-win. And then you got the Miami Dolphins, 7-4, which is a must-win. Make no mistake about it. Those are playoff games. Like I said, every game on the schedule from here on out, because of the debacle the Raiders just displayed against Atlanta. Now every game is very important. The Raiders could be 7-4 right now. 7-4, sitting pretty, same record as the Dolphins. They would be fine. They really would be. They would be just fine. In fact, if they took care of Atlanta, I thought I would be doing this show telling you guys that the Raiders would be definitely making the playoffs. I really would be. But now, I don't know if the Raiders are going to make the playoffs. There is a chance the Raiders don't make it. The Raiders could end up with the same record with someone like the Patriots, for example. If the Raiders drop let's say the Raiders lose a game, okay? And that's it. And the Patriots went out. The Patriots would get in over the Raiders. So it's going to be, the Raiders really need to take care of business. Now, asking for the Raiders to run the table seems a little bit impossible for a team that can't string together wins. The most they have done this season was, like I said, a 3-game winning streak. But that's it. Other than that, the Raiders just, they couldn't do it. They started out 2-0. But then, of course, what happened? They lost 2 games straight. They lost against the Patriots, and they lost against the Bills. They lost against the Patriots, by the way. Remember I told you that game would come back to haunt the Raiders? Remember I told you that was my Super Bowl and very well could be your Super Bowl? Well, look who is right now. look who is right. Because if the Raiders beat the Patriots in that game, it would hold a lot of weight for a tiebreakers and things like that. Because the Miami Dolphins are right in this. But instead, the Raiders lose those two against the Patriots and the Bills. Something you don't want to do. Hopefully the Bills just run away with the division. That's what you got to hope for as a Raiders fan, by the way. That they run away with that division. Which they are. But then after that, like I said, the Raiders, they come off those two losses. They win one game against the Chiefs. And then, boom, they get destroyed by the Bucs. Then they win the 3 games in a row. And then lose against the Chiefs. And then, of course, the Falcons. So you got we're asking the Raiders right now, basically, to win 5 games in a row. Is that possible? I will ask you, the Raider Nation, the real Raider fans that listen to this show. Can the Las Vegas Raiders win 5 games in a row? Because that is exactly what they're going to have to do to make the playoffs. Yes, there are scenarios where they could lose one of these games and still make the playoffs, but you're going to need help. Like I said, you're going to need Colts to lose some games. You need Cleveland to lose games. You're going to need Miami to lose games. You need a whole bunch of teams. You need the Ravens to lose some games. You need the Patriots at least to drop a game or two. So you're going to need a lot of work, a lot of help if the Raiders don't run the table. But even if the Raiders do run the table, they still might not make it. There's still scenarios where they won't make it in. Very well, the Raiders need help either way. But they need to take care of their own business. I think if the Raiders can run the table, they would make it into the playoffs. If they take care of their own business and they run the table, a very easy schedule. Let's be honest here. But, I was saying that last week too. Because they were playing against a 3-win team and they couldn't even defeat that 3-win team. Which makes me wonder how good this Raiders team is. I know their offense is good, but they're not consistent. And when you're not consistent, guess what? You're not a Super Bowl caliber team because once you make the playoffs, you have to be consistent. You have to win multiple games in a row, including the Super Bowl, to be champions. So the Raiders need to show you, the fans, that they can do that they can put together a big win streak. But what does that mean? If they win 5 in a row, and then they enter the playoffs, then they have to win 6 in a row, they have to win 7 in a row. You know what I'm saying? So that gets difficult. That's why, in my opinion, for you guys, for the fans, your best hope, what you should wish for, what you should want, and you should watch and root for anyone who's playing against the Colts, the Dolphins, the Ravens, all of those teams that are in front of you. You want them to lose as many games as possible just so you have a cushion almost. So you're safe. Because I don't buy that the Raiders are going to run the table. After what the Raiders showed last week, how can I come on this show and confidently tell you that the Raiders are going to make the playoffs and they're going to run the table? After they just got beat 43-6. Did not score a single touchdown in the entire game against a 3-win team. How can I possibly tell you the Raiders are going to beat the Colts? The Raiders are going to beat the Dolphins? I can't. Now, they should do it. They should be able to take care of the Jets. But I'm not even going to tell you the Raiders are going to win this game against the Jets. Why? Because of last week. Now anything is possible. This team could be on a downward spiral of epic proportions. This team could lose the rest of the way out. Just like last season when they just crumbled. What's to say they don't do that again? You can't say it won't happen. I mean, you watched last week. I'm sure most of you watched last week, at least until the third quarter. I know most people probably shut it off in the fourth quarter because it was embarrassing. In case you did shut it off, Nathan Peterman actually got some playing time. He got one series. It was kind of fun to watch. We didn't get to watch any preseason, so we didn't get to see him. So it was pretty cool to see him. It was a shame Marcus Mariota, he's not active. His arm is shot anyways, but it would still be fun to see him go out there and, I don't know, who cares at that point? It's not like the Raiders were going to win the game. I always like to see backup quarterbacks come in. If the team's getting blown out, I think they should do it a lot sooner. I really do. You want to get a good look at these guys. Especially a guy like Nathan Peterman, where Gruden's been hiding for 2 years, in his lab. We don't know what's going on with that guy. But I don't really see Nathan Peterman as a guy who's ever going to be a starting NFL quarterback. But who knows? No one thought that about Nick Foles either, and the guy won a Super Bowl. He's terrible as a starter, but you take him off the bench and put him in there and magic happens. Maybe that's what the Raiders need. I shouldn't say that, because then I'll be called a hater. That's by the way, that's got to end. That's got to end. Before I end this show, I got to say this. It's okay to criticize the quarterback of your team. These fans, I see it all over Twitter. They call people haters when they point out that Derek Carr fumbles 3 times and throws a pick 6. First of all, if you're a grown man, you shouldn't be using the word haters in the first place. Second of all, the guy got paid $120 million to be a franchise quarterback. That would be like you buying a brand new house and the whole thing falls apart and you say, well, at least it was brand new. You would be pretty mad. You bought a brand new house. You invested in that house to live there forever. The Raiders invested in Derek Carr to bring them a championship. He got paid $120 million. So when he wins, we shouldn't have to all bow down and say, good job, Derek Carr. Yeah, screw the haters. No one hates Derek Carr. No one cares. You know what Raiders fans want? For the people who call the haters, people want Derek Carr to win. They don't care who's at the quarterback position. They care about winning, just like I care about winning. I cover this team. When the Raiders win, I win. And that's why I'm so passionate about the Raiders winning. I want Derek Carr to be the greatest quarterback in the world, but I don't care about stats. I care about wins and losses. If that makes me a hater, then I guess I'm a hater. But I want the guy to win. I don't want him to fumble the ball every time someone whispers to him. I don't want him to throw pick 6. I want him to use his legs like he was doing in the season. I want him to throw accurate footballs, accurate passes. I want him to get the ball down the field, get some chemistry with Henry Ruggs. I want John Gruden, who's getting paid $100 million, to do a better job. I want everyone on that roster to step up their game. Because you, the fans, deserve it. You have invested money into this team. You have bought merchandise from this team. This team hasn't been a winner in years. You deserve it. This team went out and spent money on free agency on guys that are just awful. Malik Collins, good thing he's gone for the season. That guy was a waste of money. Carl Nassib was supposed to help out Max Crosby. That guy hasn't done nothing. The only guy I see running around out there is Max Crosby. And one guy is not going to win you anything. I hate to break the news to you. That's why they trade Khalil Mack. They get guys like Josh Jacobs. They get Jonathan Abrams. To build this team. It was the right thing to do. But when you don't execute, you are never going to win. Execution equals winning. Poor execution equals losing. And I don't like that because I am committed to winning. It's a commitment. I love winning. And so should you. And I don't care about who's the quarterback, who's the defensive coordinator. I don't care. I expect winning. If that makes me, a hater, then so be it. But here we go, guys. Raiders, can they defeat a winless Jets team? We'll find out. I will talk to you next week, and we'll recap it all. My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily.